Rather lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Now, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, Arsenal have been offered the chance to sign Victor Osimhen in a swap deal that will involve Takehiro Tomiyasu and Emile Smith-Rowe. Obviously, Arsenal will have to top up some money on top of those two, but we're going to be discussing how much should Arsenal add on Emile Smith-Rowe and Takehiro Tomiyasu, and whether giving the both of them away to Napoli to get Victor Osimhen is actually a good deal. We'll talk about the Martin Zubimendi situation. Fabrizio has given us some bit of hope. He says it is not over. He's not totally rejected the idea of leaving the Basque region in Spain, but his preference obviously would be to stay in Spain. But Arsenal still have a chance to sign him in the summer. It is not 100% sealed. He could still move. We'll talk about Joao Neves, because if Zubimendi doesn't come, then Joao Neves is the next option in terms of what Arsenal are trying to do this summer. So we'll do that deal, and we talk about Jakub Kiwior, and 6 clubs are interested in your boy Emile Smith-Rowe. 6 clubs in the Premier League are interested in Emile Smith-Rowe. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Now, in the comment box below, let me ask you, 2 players, Emile Smith-Rowe and Takehiro Tomiyasu, very important players to the Arsenal project. Would you swap them to get Victor Osimhen? And if you would swap them to get Victor Osimhen, how much should we add on top of those 2? Personally, that is something I wouldn't do. But let me know in the comment box below. Let's get this video to 500 damn likes. Now, Gazzetta dello Sport have reported that Arsenal are very much interested in Osimhen. That was in the past. At the moment, more reports coming out from Italy indicate that it's more of Osimhen wanting Arsenal rather than Arsenal wanting Osimhen. And Napoli have a problem here. They have one club that is interested in in Osimhen, that Osimhen wants to go to. The other clubs, PSG, Saudi Arabian clubs, and all the other projects that have been offered to the player, he's not interested in at the moment. Chelsea have walked away. Arsenal have not officially walked away, but we are hearing that the Osimhen ship around Arsenal has actually sailed on. So that means that if Arsenal are no longer considering themselves as favourites to sign Osimhen, and they don't consider him as one of the top priorities or top targets, then that is going to have a very big effect on Osimhen leaving Napoli. Could we see him stay? I don't see that happen. So what is going on? So Gazzetta dello Sport are saying that Osimhen has been offered to Arsenal in a swap deal that would see Emile Smith-Rowe go the other way, Takehiro Tomiyasu go the other way to Napoli, and Arsenal will have to add some little money on top of that. Now, the money is not specified, and in my opinion, I think Napoli are looking at it in this way. They get Emile Smith-Rowe, they value him at around 30 million euros. They get Takehiro Tomiyasu, valued at around 25 or 30 million euros. That's around 60 million euros. And then Arsenal will have the obligation to add on 50 million euros or 60 million euros on top of those 2. That is how the deal will actually play out, because they value him at around 130 million euros. If you look at these 2 valued at around 60 million euros, then Arsenal have to add 60 million euros on top of our 2 players. Now, for me, that is not a financial decision I would take, and as a fan, that is not something I would actually advise Arsenal to do, or I would love to, I would love to see. I know Osimhen is next level in terms of strikers, next level in terms of attackers. That is what we are looking for. The X factor that Arsenal have been lacking in terms of, the Champions League and last season. I think Osimhen can bring that. I think we can get that from Victor Osimhen. But I wouldn't actually go as far as saying Emile Smith-Rowe, pure profit, homegrown, sell him to Napoli, give him to Napoli to get Osimhen, and then we add money. I wouldn't actually do that. And Takehiro Tomiyasu is one of the most versatile defenders we have at Arsenal. Comfortable at centre-back, comfortable in the back 3, right back, left back, very comfortable. I wouldn't just give him away to Napoli because we are doing a swap deal with Victor, for Osimhen. I wouldn't actually do that. I don't see it as a good deal. And we've talked about it with Glenn. That podcast comes out today at 8 p.m. You'll be able to get the thoughts of me and Glenn. I just don't see it as a good deal. I just don't see it as a financial deal that Arsenal should actually be going into. I think selling Emile Smith-Rowe at the moment, actually, let's talk about Emile Smith-Rowe. There are 6 clubs interested in Emile Smith-Rowe. 6 clubs. Wolverhampton Wanderers, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Fulham, West Ham and Aston Villa, and then Napoli as well. Those are 7 clubs interested in Emil Smith Rowe. We could create a bidding war. We could create a scenario where the highest bidder wins Emil Smith Rowe. We could do that. I think. Yeah, I mean the lowest what someone could offer is 25 million euros, and that could be Napoli. So Napoli out of the way, in comes Crystal Palace. They offer 30 million euros. Out of the way, in comes Fulham. They offer 35 million euros. Out of the way comes Aston Villa. Villa offer 40 or 45 million euros. That is much better. That is 100% profit in terms of FFP and in terms of PSR. Arsenal are doing very well, right? So I wouldn't say a swap deal for Osimhen. And my boys, Emil Smith Rowe and Takehiro Tomiyasu, is a good deal. Unless this is highly unlikely. Unless Osimhen is coming to Arsenal, we don't add any single coin on top of that deal. So Emil Smith Rowe goes the other way, Takehiro Tomiyasu goes the other way. We value both of them at 100 million, and they give us Osimhen, who they value at 100 million. We settle each other. There I would listen. But Arsenal adding, even if it's like 10 million on top, that would be, I wouldn't say we do that. I think selling Emil Smith Rowe, and if you want to sell Takehiro Tomiyasu, sell them. In both of those deals, you're able to raise something like 70 million or 80 million, and you can, plan accordingly for that money. You could get a midfielder, maybe Fofana for 25 million euros. You could get, a Gerard Hato for 30 million pounds, and life moves on. So for me, the Victor Osimhen deal, I like him as a player. I think he's a very, very good talent. It's one that I think Arsenal should just stay away from. It's one that I think doesn't sit well with me. That swap deal, I'm not sure. And I also don't think that Arsenal are going to do that deal. It looks like it has sailed on. It looks like it has moved on. Unless we see any tragic developments, especially with the Benjamin Sesko deal. If Sesko doesn't move to Arsenal, then we are going to move on to other targets. So maybe that's where Osimhen can be considered. But I'm still very strong on Arsenal getting Sesko, on Arsenal doing that Sesko deal. So Osimhen, I don't see that happen. And of course, Ben Jacobs yesterday, was saying that Arsenal are looking to do one, either Osimhen or Sesko, not both of them. And at the moment, they're focusing on Ben Sesko. So your Osimhen deal, thank you so much, Napoli. We will pass. We will pass. Now, Martin Zubimendi is one of the players that are really causing a headache for Arsenal in the transfer market. This guy has been wanted by Arsenal for ages. Like, if we talk about hours, we might be talking about millions of hours of Arsenal interested, being interested in Martin Zubimendi. If we talk about days, thousands maybe of days. I don't know. Ever since Mikel Arteta, came in, are we in thousands of days? I think we are. So this summer, Arsenal are serious about getting him as their priority defensive midfielder, and this is what Fabrizio has actually said. We keep hearing a lot of stories about Martin Zubimendi. Some outlets now stating that he's unlikely to leave Real Sociedad as he is happy and not ready to leave the Basque region. However, my understanding remains that this is not decided yet. Zubi's future, his decision is still not clear yet. It remains an open situation, and he has a release clause of 60 million euros. Fabrizio Romano on the Court Offside page. Now, for the Zubimendi deal, I would really understand why Arsenal are dying to get him. 60 million euros for the next Rodri, for the next Sergio Busquets. Someone should be arrested for that release clause. Anyone that inserted that release clause in the contract of Zubimendi at Real Sociedad must be arrested right now. That is financial fraud. This guy, I'm going to tell you this. If Martin Zubimendi gets a good club, settles down, he will be, he will be untransferable. The way you look at Rodri right now, like how much would you pay for Rodri? 200 million? 10 million? 50 million? 250 million? That's the thing with players like Martin Zubimendi. When I look at him, I look at him as a player who's going to sign for a club, maybe Arsenal, maybe Barcelona, maybe, depends. And he's going to settle in for the next 10 years. So I think Real Sociedad would be lucky to have him. They'll be lucky to keep him for another successful, window. That is insane. But I think his reasons for staying last summer might have now been, washed away a little bit. Real Sociedad had Champions League last summer, and he was eager to play in the Champions League with Real Sociedad. His boyhood club. He loves the club. He loves the people there. So he felt like playing in the UCL with the club of your dreams, with your boyhood club. That is a dream come true. I'm sorry to inform you, Martin Zubimendi, that next season your club will not be playing in the UCL. And I think for Real Sociedad, this is time to sell. He has had one of the best seasons you can ever have from him. I think back-to-back seasons top, right? Why they've not tried to, kind of extend that release clause? I'm not really sure. Either they think they have a lot of power on him, he can stay because he loves them, or they actually want to sell and they don't want to stand in his way. But whichever way, I think the bond between the player and the club is very strong. Arsenal will have to do whatever it takes. Arsenal will have to do a lot of work to get this deal done. But I don't see it as an impossible deal, though. Now, I've done some videos where we've talked about impossible deals, like Arsenal going to sign Barella at Inter Milan. That would have been practically impossible last summer, although I really appreciate him as a player. Bastoni, that is practically impossible. Even now, I think it's a very, very impossible deal for Arsenal to do. But I don't think Zubimendi is an impossible deal. And I don't think that he's not interested in Arsenal or the Arsenal project. I think he's just a player in love with that club, with that single club. It might take us a little bit of persuading, a little bit of creativity to get him out of there. We've seen players like Mark Noble play for West Ham all their lives. We've seen the likes of Steven Gerrard just going on a crazy run for Liverpool, the likes of Frank Lampard. So loyalty in the game is still there. But how you work your way around that loyalty is what Arsenal have to figure out now. I don't think it's about money, because if it was about money, there's so many other clubs that can give him that money. So he would have left already. So it's not about money. It's not even about trophies for me when it comes to Martin Zubimendi. I don't know if you're called to convince him. What would we tell him? I'm not really sure. I'm not so good at negotiating, honestly. But I would love to see what Arsenal tell him. And I would love to see this deal happen, because that would mean Arsenal have cracked a code of a very, very difficult player. Now, if it doesn't happen, if this deal doesn't happen, we are going for Joao Neves. Reports are actually indicating that Manchester United did send in a €60 million bid, those bastards, and it was actually turned down. That means that whoever now has to go in for Joao Neves, you're starting at €60 million. I hate Manchester United. Now, for me, with Joao Neves, he's an out-and-out number 6 who can play as a number 8. Zubimendi, out-and-out number 6, who can also play in that number 8 role. I don't see Joao Neves happen. It's either Arsenal put him there thinking they can negotiate with Benfica. But Benfica have nothing to lose. He's just 19 years of age. His contract runs down in 2027, 2028. They can keep him for the next 2 years, and they know they are going to get money. Like, these guys are good at discovering generational talent. But one thing Benfica are good at is getting good money out of generational talent. Di Maria, very, very good money. And I was like, that's a very, very good deal from these guys. Darwin Núñez, maybe not generational talent, but generational money. They actually got money for generational talent. Liverpool fans will tell us whether Darwin Núñez is generational talent. So I think Joao Neves is generational talent. They will want to maximize the income, and if he gets a good Euros and he gets another top season at Benfica, we might be talking about hundreds of millions still. I mean, this summer, it's hundreds of millions. Next summer, I don't think it's changing. I think the boy is developing at a very, very quick rate. And the position where he plays, if you're really talented and gifted, it doesn't go wrong. So if Arsenal really want him, it's this summer, not after next summer. But the thing with the players like Joao Neves is, if Benfica are willing to sell next summer, they might actually be willing to listen to offers between 75 to 80 million. But because they're not willing to sell this summer, they're going to say 120 million euros. If you don't have it, don't knock on that door. I mean, tell me what you think. So we've talked about Emil Smith Pro. Ethan Nwaneri is set to be promoted to the Arsenal first team, and that means that there is a chance and likelihood that one of the homegrown players that we want to keep, especially Emil Smith Pro, could actually be leaving. Another player that I would love to keep at Arsenal but could be leaving is Jakub Kiwior. Now, Fabrizio has actually said that Jakub Kiwior is a player that Arsenal will consider selling depending on the offer. Interesting. Very interesting. Because for me, with Jakub Kiwior, I wouldn't say untouchable. I think Tommy is untouchable. Jakub Kiwior, I wouldn't regard him as untouchable. But I wouldn't really want to see him gone at the moment. I would rather keep than sell. Now, AC Milan, obviously, one team, top of the list. There are a couple of other clubs as well in Italy that actually want him back. So, has he impressed you this season? For me, I'm impressed. I think he can get better. I think he can, improve. We've seen that with Ben White in his first season. Kind of struggled, but when we gave him another chance, he kind of, became a good player. And now he is a top player. So Jakub Kiwior, I would give another chance. But because Arsenal want to get in a new centre back on the left hand side, who can also play as a left back, then you could see why Jakub Kiwior is going to be on the market, right? So let me know what you think about Jakub Kiwior, because I'm still not convinced about letting him go, especially off the back of that season. I'm not 100% convinced, honestly.